Hey guys, my name is Julianne Hardy. I'm from Crush TV, and I'm about to go in and get to meet the whole cast and crew for the Vagina Monologues. It's opening on February 10th, this Thursday, and showing Friday too, so let's go meet the cast.
Yeah, I feel like we're like nervous as in like, okay, we want to make it good, we want to go all out this year, but at the same time we're like comfortable because we're not, we're not sharing something that has to be perfect. You know what I mean? We're sharing something that's a real story, and we need to get the message across, whether or not, the words are word for word on the script or more powerful because of what we're saying, So I think that that's kind of what we're more focused on rather than getting it perfect to a T, so.
Yeah, I think just adding to that, I feel like we've been talking, tonight about how we've become stronger as a group, and having these monologues has made us more comfortable to talk about these topics with each other. And I think our goal is when people leave the show, they're going to go to dinner with their friends and talk about these topics. Mm-hmm. And so I think we're more focused about what happens to the community after the show than we are what happens on stage itself.
Exactly. They're going to be like, how's your steak? Good. The Vagina Monologues is pretty good too.
Really important to laugh, and that's what I've really tried to encourage from the beginning, is that we're working on something that's very important, that's very serious, but we need to take the time to smile and to laugh and to celebrate, as well as to question and to remember and to think about these things. So to me, humor is as big of a process of this process as tragedy and some of the sadder aspects of the show.
So it's a good opportunity to get people to open their minds, open their ears a little bit and get out there, experience something different.
And it's not without cause. It's not like we're just encouraging people to scream the word. I think it's a method of it's empowerment. It's political. It's taking back a word that has historically been used to denigrate and taking it back and saying, no more, this is my word. And I think that's what we're trying to encourage the audience to do, is to take control of these words that have been used to harm you and instead turn that into something empowering.
Is there any message for the men that are coming to see this?
What's the men's message? Step up. You know what I mean? Like it even says, to the good men, where are you out there? Take care of your woman. You have women, it's going to be your mother, your wife, your daughter. There's so many different women in your life, and they go through all these things. So it makes, men be aware of it and do something about it.
Mm-hmm. Abuse against women affects everybody. It doesn't matter what your race is, what your gender is, what your nationality is. There's a fantastic documentary for V-Day, and in it they say that women are our world's most precious resource, and we're depleting that resource.
And again, it's knowledge is power, making men understand, because these are real women's stories, to really understand women and where they're coming from and how something they do can hurt somebody, so that they understand the joy and the sadness involved. And that they kind of understand where the women in their life are coming from. They say men are for Mars and women are for Venus. That's not true. We all want the same things. And for them to understand these stories, because these are real stories. I think that's what makes these stories so powerful, and why we identify with them, is because they're real. Real people and real life. This isn't Eve Ensler's story about herself. These are real people stories from everywhere. This is a global paradigm. So we need to break the global paradigm of rape and violence against women and children. So that's what I think, like I said, knowledge is power. And to teach the men to understand is what we need to do. And I, have a lot of male nursing students, and I've invited them to come, and some of them are coming. We're trying to invite, couples to come. I mean, this is not just, a women's thing. Mm-hmm. Women, men, we're all together. And I think it's really important that men show up too, to support us.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's almost like, in more ways, the show is for men, because so much of our culture focuses, especially on sexual violence and rape, on the female side, what you can do to prevent it, or you shouldn't wear these clothes, or you shouldn't go out at night. But in reality, we're skirting the issue. The issue is men can stop rape, and those are the ones that we need to be directing our message to. And while this show is woman-centered and very obviously that theme, I think that if men, if they were to come, they would find a very serious message for them too. And I think that's what we're really trying to express this year, especially is the theme of sexual violence, this idea of Occupy Rape. You know, not allowing it to happen anymore. And these are issues that have historically been geared towards women. But I think if we're going to do anything, we need to stop the issue itself, which is men. So.
That's so true, because I mean, women know that, yeah, it hurts to violate my body. You know, it hurts to take what I have and make it yours. But men don't know that. Men, you know, see things in porn and they see things in media that makes it okay to do these things to women, and it's not. And I think the big part of the show is just standing up and finally saying, no, it's not okay.
Yeah, I guess with the topic of like rape and abuse, I mean everyone really only looks at like the female standpoint, like here's how you prevent it, and here's how you keep this from happening to you. But there really is that's only half of it. Like it's also what like, the guy's doing too. So. When
are we going to start teaching men that it's wrong to rape, not women that you shouldn't wear that dress? I mean, we're focusing on the wrong thing. So.
Yeah, everything in our culture is based on blaming the victim as opposed to the actual the actual attacker, and that's kind of where things need to switch over, because it shouldn't matter if somebody went out drinking. It shouldn't matter what they wore. It shouldn't matter where they were. Nobody asks for it. Period.
No means no.
Mm-hmm.
Stranger danger.
Started to take the word rape really lightly, and a couple of months ago there were these incidents on Facebook with these rape pages, and it's not funny. It's not a joke. Rape isn't funny. You know, it's not okay to say the word rape and to take it lightheartedly.
Like definitely more of a serious issue than.
Yeah, and I feel like there's so many 12-year-old boys out there who don't get that. You know, it's so, the vagina is such an integral part of our lives, of our bodies, and everyone's afraid to say the freaking word. But, I mean, it's something that we have to acknowledge every day, so why can't we just say it out loud? Vagina.
Well, this whole show literally is just words. I mean, we're up there talking, it's just monologues, it's just words, but it's such a powerful show. And I think in the same way that these words in a play can be so powerful, words in our daily lives are powerful. I mean, things that we say to people can be hurtful, and things that we say to people can just as easily build them up and promote a culture of well-being and promote a culture of self-esteem, rather than a culture of violence and a culture of abuse. And that's the whole message we're trying to get out there with these words that we're using in the show.
Guys talk about their penises
So much.
easily. I'm just like it's gonna be cool to like listen to you guys just like talk about your vaginas just as easily, because like I mean like let's be honest, like if they can't talk about their penises and be like, you know, all, and they don't even talk about this like in a serious way. They're just like, oh, my penis is bigger than your penis.
It's casual, yeah.
I know,
It's like they take it so lightly that, I mean, we should be able to definitely talk about our vaginas if we want to, you know?
Can I say something? Okay. It's really funny. You've been in this room with us for what, about 25 minutes or so? And when you came in, you were like, you're talking about vaginas. And now you're like, hey, we should be able to talk about our vaginas. That's how Vagina Monologues works. Like, you come in very, very, you know, conservative, and you think that what I'm doing is wrong. They shouldn't be talking about this up there. What are they doing? Please do not get naked. And then, by the end of the show, you're like, they're right. Like, my vagina is special. Like, you see this right here? Like, why are you not talking about your penis? You know, like, you're more open and confident. You're confident with your vagina now. I can tell. I just see it.
That's what I'm going to tell you.
I see it be on your forehead.
I have to say that in like the 8 years that I've been producing this show, it is so funny to just watch people like read our flyers and all of our materials, and as soon as they read the word vagina, it's on their face. And they do one of two things. They either like turn away and walk faster to get around me, or
Laugh.
yeah, laugh, and then they try to like still get away. I don't understand why people are uncomfortable with it. It's a word. I don't know. I just think it's funny. In 8 years, I've had the same reaction every time. Wow, that's hilarious.
She's being.
Oh my gosh.
I think everyone's just secretly curious when they hear the Vagina Monologues. They don't, even if they don't know what it's about, they just want to see what it's about, and they're so curious that, you know, it's going to be nice and dark. They can kind of slip in and see what it's about, and then by the time they're
No pun intended.
the hood, you know. But I don't know, everybody wants to talk about their vaginas.
True.
Secretly we do.
Secretly,
every woman wants to talk about
their
vagina.
Yes.
See, my friends have gotten used to me saying, I'm going to vagina practice. But when I say that out loud in a room, people don't understand what vagina practice is. It sounds like I'm going to some kind of like,
Strengthening.
yeah, like cable class or something.
My favorite is at the beginning when we have our first vagina workshop, and everybody gets together and reads through for the first time. That's probably the best.
Vagina workshop.
The vagina workshop.
Yeah.
Great.
First, especially like telling my parents and stuff, like, oh, I'm gonna go try out for the Vagina Monologues. My mom was like, wait, what? And I was like, the Vagina Monologues. So it was kind of weird at first, and I think I was kind of nervous, and just in general, I felt so uncomfortable with the word. I kind of felt uncomfortable with myself, to be quite honest, and just being here and being with them, like, it made me so much more open, and it made me like a lot more comfortable also like with myself, and it helped me to make myself like see myself beautifully instead of as this person that I used to think I was. And so I think it really helped me, and like now like I'll sit there and be like, hey mom, going to vagina monologue practice, see you later, and she's like, okay, bye. So I think like even just like my parents and stuff have gotten more comfortable with it just because like I'm around it and stuff, and I'm a little more open as well, so kind of helped the household there.
When I tried out, when I was in the show last year, I was really scared about telling my mom because she's really conservative Christian mother, and I ended up going through the production without having told her. And so this year I made it my goal to tell my mother about what I was doing, and so I told her, and I was completely surprised by her reaction. And she said that she was so proud that I was standing up for such an important cause and an issue. So unintentionally, it kind of started this dialogue between my mother and I. So it really is kind of this family affair of sorts, and it gets, you know, kids and their parents talking about that kind of stuff too. So who knows, you know, after the show over dinner, you know, maybe, I don't know, maybe someone's gonna have the talk. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it brings all of us together, and in a weird way, it brings parents and their children together too.
Well, I had a kind of different, so I don't think I've ever said this out loud. I'm a virgin, and I just turned 20. So when I was about 19, I remember kind of just like saying, oh my God, I have to just lose my virginity. It's totally necessary. It's so embarrassing. So yeah, that kind of happened. And there was a point where I think almost every single guy that I tried to, you know, talk to or whatever, kind of almost made me feel like my vagina and me were two totally different things. That's the way I thought I was being treated, you know, where more importance was being put on my vagina and not myself or getting to know me or things like that. So I kind of just decided, you know, I'm not going to do that. That's just not necessary. So I decided, you know, I'll stay a virgin. And I had seen I actually read them, the Vagina Monologues before, but I read them when I was 14. I stole them from my theater art teacher. And so I read them, and when I was 14, it didn't quite hit me as much. And then I actually got the book again before I turned 20, read it, and said, okay, you know, it's one. We're all one thing. Your vagina is you. You know, you have to be, if you're not proud of your vagina, then you can't be proud of yourself. You know, it's one being, it's one thing, and I think out of reading all of these monologues, I think that's one thing that I take from the show. You know, it even asks you, you know, like, if you could dress it up, what would we wear? You know, you have to think of it as yourself. that's the important thing, and that's what I took from it, and now I'm a lot more confident, and don't go for boys like that, and things like that. So yeah.
Is that topic like addressed in any of the monologues, like the being like okay with being a virgin? Is that in any of them?
Not in these particular ones, but that would be a good topic.
Because I feel like that's something that's like so important, and girls are uncomfortable with being a virgin. I'm a virgin, and I've had like my last boyfriend, he sucked. And it was just something that I always felt like so much pressure for, and like
Yeah.
it's great. No, I mean, like being content with it, I guess. I don't know, embracing it. There you go.
Yeah,
One
and these
topic-
monologues help that a lot. And I think even at that, well, I mean, I'm a virgin, and I've actually never had a boyfriend, just because it's like I felt like every single guy was always leaning towards that. It was something that was always so important, and it was like, okay, you're making my girlfriend, then we're gonna have sex. That's it. Like a week later, we're gonna have sex. So just, yeah, to be able to say like, I'm gonna wait, I don't know how long, hopefully not that long, whatever, but I'm gonna wait until I'm content with who it is, because I'm important, my vagina is important, and that's all that matters.
Your vagina is important.
Well, we don't address, the issue of virginity directly. I think the monologues in general do kind of talk about having the confidence and the self-esteem to just be yourself, whatever that may be. And so I think for a lot of women, when they're watching the show, if they're virgins, then they're going to identify with that. If they're not, they're going to identify with their particular story. But in each story, I think you can see shades of yourself or shades of woman and the message is always, it's okay to be me. No matter where I come from or what my background might be, that it's okay to stand up for yourself and be proud of your vagina.
I actually haven't as much like in the last few years, because this is going to be like our 8th year doing it. So now they kind of like expect it, and they know, like I've explained everything to them and everything that goes on and what doesn't go on. I've had to tell them time and time again that the actresses don't get naked. There is no simulated sex.
There's
none of.
yeah.
I don't know where any of these questions come from, but they kind of like know what to expect, so they're kind of all right with it. I imagine that if they really didn't want me to do it, they would say something. But it works. They haven't stopped me yet.
I'm not sure if they have too much of a choice, because it's become such a tradition on campus that I think we have entire generations of students that are like, well, I really want to do that show. When I'm a college student, that's what we're really trying to do with this show. We have a partnership with Ray High School, and that we're bringing student volunteers to help with ushering and things like that, and we're really trying to get this idea of the next generation of Vagina Monologues and so that they start to form this community, this group with the younger ones, and maybe mentor them into believing that this is what they want to do when they come to college. So.
What kind of feedback have y'all gotten from in the past years? Like, have y'all
I saw the show when I was a freshman here, and I think that the feedback that I got from the show is that I was so inspired that I wanted to act in it. I never acted on stage before in my life. I've always been a little bit of the geek, believe it or not. But I felt like it spoke to me, and there were monologues that I thought, wow, that's me. And I finally felt comfortable enough with myself to go out there and do something brave. And so I think that the feedback that we get is almost everyone here who, when we asked, why did you try out, they said, I was so inspired by the show. So I think that's our biggest support.
I think also on that, there's always going to be a negative, kind of feedback. There's always going to be somebody who, like I've heard of men who have gone to the show and then you ask them about it and they're like, oh, I went last year, I'm not going again this year. And but it's kind of like the thing when you're really persistent on something, if you continue to fight, if you continue to stand up, people are gonna be forced to change, you know what I mean? So if that person walks away and is like, oh, this and that, if we continue to be there and we continue not to stop, they're gonna be forced to, coincide with us and is that a word? I think that's a word. And kind of land on the same page, and and in their minds, they're gonna end up realizing that what we're doing is a good thing. And from a lot of other people, I've heard inspirational things as well. And that it's really funny and they pee their pants.
Those where when you're watching it, you laugh, you cry, and you laugh so hard. You're crying because you're laughing so hard. You know, it has a little bit of everything, and everything is just so real too. Because you're speaking from, I mean, we've already touched on it. You're speaking from real women and their own stories. And like I said, you can relate, which is the best part. You know, you don't go to any old regular play and be able to relate with everything that goes on. You know, and this is something that's totally different. So I mean, everyone in the audience will be able to feel it. It's in one of the monologues, at least one of the monologues, which I think is really great.
All right, so y'all met the whole cast and crew for the Vagina Monologues, opening this Thursday, Performing Arts Center, A&M Corpus Christi. Doors open at 5:30 and show starts at 7. So y'all be there, all right? This is Julianne Hardy signing out. Crush TV. Thanks, guys.